Melania Trump's iconic fashion controversy revisited the truth behind the green Zara jacket. It's been 6 years since the world witnessed one of the most talked about fashion choices of the 21st century, Melania Trump's green Zara jacket. In the summer of 2018, the then First Lady made headlines for what could only be described as a fashion misstep that left people bewildered. The situation quickly spiraled into a cultural moment, with debates raging far beyond the world of fashion, pulling political discourse, public opinion, and media narratives into its orbit. Melania, a former supermodel, was known for her meticulously curated wardrobe, often opting for high-end, designer pieces that matched her image of elegance and poise. She rarely made a public appearance without being dressed to the nines in luxury clothing and accessories, so when she appeared wearing a simple parka from the fast fashion brand Zara, it was enough to raise eyebrows on its own. But it wasn't the jacket's price tag that set tongues wagging, it was what was written across the back. In large white lettering, the back of the jacket read, "I really don't care, do you?" For many, it seemed like an odd, almost careless statement to display in public, particularly from a First Lady known for her calculated approach to fashion. While the slogan might have been interpreted as playful or sarcastic in a different context, Melania's timing and venue were what turned this into a full-blown scandal. The choice to wear this jacket wasn't made during a casual outing or a lighthearted event. Instead, she donned the controversial item while on her way to visit a group of migrant children who had been detained at the U.S.-Mexico border under the Trump administration's zero-tolerance immigration policy. These children had been separated from their families, an issue that was already at the heart of a heated national and international debate. So the message on her jacket was interpreted as tone-deaf, insensitive, and even callous by many onlookers, as it seemed to send the message that she didn't care about the plight of the children she was visiting. The backlash was immediate and widespread. Social media exploded with outrage, news outlets across the globe condemned her choice, and commentators from all sides of the political spectrum weighed in. Critics argued that the message contradicted her supposed mission on that day, showing compassion for vulnerable children. People questioned whether this was an intentional statement reflecting the Trump administration's harsh stance on immigration, or merely an unfortunate coincidence. The idea that a First Lady, usually so meticulous in her fashion choices, could be so careless with the slogan seemed implausible to many. Some even speculated that it was a deliberate provocation or a secret message to her detractors. Adding fuel to the fire, then President Donald Trump and his administration scrambled to address the media frenzy. At first, there was confusion, with different sources within the White House offering conflicting explanations for Melania's jacket. Eventually, her communications team dismissed the speculation by stating that it was just a jacket with no hidden meaning. However, this explanation did little to quell the storm of criticism. Comparisons were made to previous First Ladies, and when Jill Biden later wore a jacket emblazoned with the word love, critics and supporters alike drew immediate parallels, further solidifying the cultural significance of Melania's controversial choice. The incident might have faded from the headlines over time, as scandals often do, but it was never forgotten. The jacket became a symbol, a shorthand for how people interpreted Melania's role as First Lady, her relationship to the media, and the often contradictory narratives that followed her during her time in the White House. Fast forward 6 years, and Melania Trump has finally decided to speak out about the incident in her upcoming memoir, which is set to be released this October. In the book, she offers her side of the story for the first time, claiming that the media and the public completely misinterpreted her intentions. According to an excerpt shared by the Daily Mail, Melania reveals that her decision to wear the jacket was, in fact, a deliberate statement, but not in the way most people assumed. Melania writes that her coat was a form of protest not against migrant children or immigration policies, but against the media itself. She explains that the message on the back of the jacket was a direct response to the way the press had been treating her throughout her tenure as First Lady. "I was determined," she writes, "not to let the media's false narratives affect my mission to help the children and families at the border." In her view, the press had twisted and distorted her actions so much that she decided to use the jacket as a way to express her frustration and defiance. Interestingly, Melania also reveals that she had been actively campaigning behind the scenes to soften her husband's stance on immigration, particularly when it came to the policy of separating children from their parents. This part of her memoir paints a picture of a First Lady who was not simply a bystander, but someone who was working to influence policy, though often out of the public eye. In her memoir, Melania goes on to describe how the media frenzy over the jacket unfolded in real time. As soon as she boarded the plane that day, she recalls, the press secretary was inundated with questions about the jacket. But rather than allow her to explain the true meaning behind the slogan, her team advised her to remain silent. They suggested that any attempt to clarify her decision would only backfire, and the media would twist her words even further. In the end, her team told CNN that the jacket was simply a fashion choice, with no deeper significance and explanation that she says was far from the truth. Melania's decision to finally address the jacket controversy in her memoir is bound to reignite debates about that infamous day in 2018. For her, it seems, the jacket was a symbol of resistance not against those in need, but against a media landscape that she felt was hostile and untrustworthy. Whether her explanation will change public perception remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: the green Zara jacket will forever be etched into the history of her time as First Lady. What initially seemed like a simple piece of clothing has since evolved into a cultural touchstone, representing the complex interplay between politics, media, and fashion during a particularly turbulent time in American history. And now, with the release of her memoir, Melania is hoping to rewrite the narrative surrounding one of the most notorious moments of her public life. Only time will tell if the world is ready to reconsider the jacket, or if its place in history is already firmly cemented.